Good afternoon. It's been a wonderful day at the Geneva Summit for Human Rights and Democracy. I'm Alfred Moses. I am the chair of UN Watch. For those of you who have suffered, for those of you who are suffering, for those of you who will suffer, we have no words to match your sorrow. For Fred and Cindy, we have no words to match your grief. But we're inspired by your reference to progress in South Korea, the darkness in North Korea. All of political life is a journey from darkness to light. It's our mission to speed that journey. I've been asked to speak on the 70th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, a document penned here in Geneva, drafted by René Cassin, the French academic and intellectual, championed by Eleanor Roosevelt, who was the chair of the U.S. mission to the Human Rights Commission and chair of the commission, is looked back upon as a glorious day, but it was only a milestone. The fight for human rights didn't begin with the Universal Declaration and doesn't end with the Universal Declaration. The Universal Declaration was a product of 2,000 years of human history, beginning with the Hebrew Bible, the Christian Testament, the French Revolution, the American Revolution, the Scottish philosophers Locke and Hume, Descartes in France, Kierkegaard in Denmark. It was the product of 2 millennia of human thought, human aspiration. It was codified in the Universal Declaration. But we have to move on from the Universal Declaration. It will never be fully adhered to, but it will always be a yardstick by which human rights are judged and measured. And I can assure you that 70 years from now, people will be sitting here talking about the Universal Declaration of Human Rights long after all the tyrants that exist today will be gone and forgotten. Such is the way it should be for humanity. But where are we today? The great evils of the past, slavery, colonialism, they are of the past. The great ideological isms, communism and fascism, are largely disappeared from the earth. Oh, sure, there'll be rebirths and people in China talk about communism, but it's not Marxist. Party control of a mixed economy. And in Cuba, Castro may talk about communism, but I doubt that he believes in communism. It's nothing to believe in. It is hollow and has been proven to be fatal to the well-being of humankind. So what do we have? What are the curses of today, and how do we deal with them? Let me suggest to you that in the place of the ills of the past, we have tribalism, we have ethnic conflicts, we have religious extremism, and we have governments. You use the euphemism autocratic. Let's call it for what it is. They're totalitarian. They permit no dissent. They oppress their own citizens. And as was said today, just a few minutes ago, by Mr. Bahari, they devour their own. They've devoured their own in North Korea, just as they devoured their own in the Soviet Union in the 1930s. The regimes are bound to fail because they don't have popular support. And without popular support, they cannot for long endure. Now that may sound wonderful. You're saying in time they will not endure, but we live in the present. And I Totally agree with that. So it is our mission here, to keep the light burning. The United Nations, with all of its pious declarations upon its creation, and all the sanctimonious words that will be spoken in the Human Rights Council next week, in the General Assembly, and even in the Security Council, will not cure the evils of the world. It is more oratory than actual relieving of suffering. Suffering at home in individual countries, in the end, can only be relieved, can only be replaced by the people in those countries. It was said this morning by Mr. Laria. He spoke quite eloquently on the point. Unless the people in the individual countries are willing to take the risks and have the power to change the societies that are oppressing them, those societies will more likely than not continue with all of their weaknesses, devouring their own, economic stagnation that exists in North Korea and in many of these oppressive countries, Iran being another one. But until the people in those countries feel empowered and feel the hope and feel the commitment to change the regimes, the oppression will continue. Communism did not disappear in the Soviet Union because of the United States. It disappeared because it hit a stone wall. And the same is true for oppressive regimes throughout history. So as much as it is important for us to be here, for us to keep the torch burning, to hold out hope, to, if possible, save individual persons who were oppressed, Mayor Ledesma and others such as he. In the end, systems will only be changed if the people in those countries are empowered, encouraged, and indeed they have the commitment to move forward to change the regimes in their countries. So your mission is a vital one. I would even say, after the pastor, a holy one. But in the end, we can only cheer. We are not on the firing line. Most of us are not paying the price, but all of us care deeply. In the end, universal human rights is the answer. It belongs to all of us. It has two principal enemies: particularism, where we exalt the particular, whether it's religion, ethnicity, tribalism, over the universal, failing to recognize that universal human rights belong to all of us, and that true sovereignty rests with individuals, not with governments, not with international bodies, but with human beings. We, as human beings, are sovereign and have the basic rights with which we're endowed. And those include the basic rights in the Atlantic Charter: freedom from fear, freedom from want, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, but it also includes non-gender discrimination, non-discrimination based on sexual orientation, all the freedoms that we have as individuals in our individual sovereignty. In the end, universalism will win out over particularism. If it doesn't, the failure is ours. And if the failure is ours, it is because of our indifference. We don't care enough. Most of the people in the world are not oppressors, and they're not people fighting for human rights. It's a small number on each side. In the end, the battle to make the Universal Declaration an actuality will depend upon who cares more, who is more committed, who is more willing to pay the price, we or they. Let us hope that today and in all the years to come, those who care more, those who are more committed, those who are willing to sacrifice will be not they, but we. Thank you.